I spoke in some of my previous videos that I no longer talk politics. The truth is, when I did, it was only for a short period of time. This started no more than 10 years ago during a presidential election that I began showing interest. Before that time, I never voted because I felt as a believer in the kingdom, I shouldn't have a concern about who was in control of other kingdoms. But when my eyes were open to how principalities causes people to vote for the sake of an agenda, I felt that I needed to play a part in the outcome of this country's destiny. A lot of people may vote for different reasons. Some may vote for a particular party, others may vote for candidates because of race or skin color, sex or religions. Some may vote because they are in rejection of a party or someone in a party. Balaam could not curse the people of Yeshurun, but he showed people how to cause them to put a curse on themselves. So Yahudah started catering to the things Yahuah hates, therefore bringing a curse among themselves. I believe that a part of Shaitan's playbook is to cause people that are supposed to be his start doing things that Yahuah hates. A lot of times voting may come down to using common sense when you cast your vote. One example is the media claims that one party is against a woman's right to have an abortion. So you have leaders around the country that wants to protect those rights by making a law for a woman to have those rights. But like Balaam said, he cannot speak a word against Yahudah and curse a blessed people unless they bring curses among themselves. This is of the Besorah. Allowing babies to be murdered from the mother's womb is not a blessing, but a curse. Come out of Mishram, my people, as Alahim would say. Malachim 12, and Rockbam went to Shechem, for all of Yeshurun had gone to Shechem to set him up to reign. And it came to be when Jeroboam son of Nebat heard this, he was still in Mishram, for he had fled from the presence of Shalimar and had been dwelling in Mishram. There they sent and called him, and Jeroboam and all the assembly of Yeshurun came and spoke to Rockbam, saying, Your father made our yoke hard, and now lighten the hard service of your father and his heavy yoke which he has put on us, then we serve you. And he said to them, Go away for 3 young men, then come back to me. Then the people went. Then King Rockman consulted the elders who stood before his father Shalimar where he still lived, and he said, What do you advise me to answer these people? And they spoke to him, saying, If you are a servant of these people today, and shall serve them, and shall answer them, and speak good words to them, then they shall be your servant, all the young men. But he ignored the advice the elders gave him, and consulted the young men that had grown up with him, who stood before him. And he said to them, What advice do you give? How shall we answer this people who have spoken to me, saying, Lighten the yoke which your father put on us? And the young men who had grown up with him spoke to him, saying, Say this to this people who have spoken to you, saying, Your father made our yoke heavy, but you make it lighter on us. Say this to them, My little finger is thicker than my father's waist. And now my father laid a heavy yoke on you, but I add to your yoke. My father flogged you with whips, but I flog you with scourges. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rock on the 3rd yom, as the king had spoken, saying, Come back on the 3rd yom. But the king answered the people harshly and ignored the advice which the elders had given him. And he spoke to them according to the advice of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, but I add to your yoke. My father flogged you with whips, but I flog you with scourges. So the king did not listen to the people, for the turn of events was from Yahuah in order to establish his words, which Yahuah had spoken by Achiah the Shilonite to Jeroboam, son of Nebat. Then all of Yeshurun saw that the king did not listen to them. Then the people answered the king, saying, What portion do we have in David? And there is no inheritance in the son of Yeshai. To your mighty ones, O Yeshurun, now see to your own house, O David. So Yeshurun went to their tents. But as for the children of Yeshurun who dwelt in the cities of Yehudah, Rockbam reigned over them. And when King Rockbam sent Adoram, who was over the compulsory labors, all Yeshurun stoned him with stones, and he died. And King Rockbam hastily mounted his chariot to flee to Jerusalem. Thus Yeshurun revolted against the house of David to this yom. And it came to be when all Yeshurun heard that Yerbin had come back, they sent for him and called him to the assembly and set him up to reign over all Yeshurun. There was none who followed the house of David except the tribe of Yehudah only. And Rabban came to Jerusalem, and he assembled all the house of Yehudah with the tribes of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men, to fight against the house of Yeshurun, to bring back the reign of Rachman, son of Solomon. But the word of Alahim came to Shemaiah, the man of Alahim, saying, Speak to Rachman, the son of Solomon, king of Yehudah, and to all the house of Yehudah and Benjamin, and the rest of the people, saying, Thus say Yahuah, do not go up and fight against your brothers, the children of Yeshurun. Let every man return to his house, for this matter is from me. So they obeyed the words of Yahuah and turned back according to the words of Yahuah. And Yerbin built Shechem in the mountains of Ephraim and dwelt there. And he went out from there and built Penuel. And Yerbin said in his heart, Now the rain shall return back to the house of David. If these people go back to slaughtering in the house of Yehudah at Jerusalem, then the hearts of these people shall turn back to their Adonai, Rachman, king of Yehudah, and they shall slay me and go back to Rachman, king of Yehudah. So the king took counsel and made 2 cans of gold and said to the people, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. See your mighty ones, O Yeshurun, which brought you up from the land of Mishram. And he set up one in Baitel, and another he put in Dan. And this matter became a sin, for the people went before the ones as far as Dan. And he made the house of high places, and made the priests of all sorts of people who were not of the sons of Lewi. And Yerbin performed a festival on the 15th yom of the 8th month, like the festival that was in Yehudah, and he offered on the altar. So did he at Baitel, slaughtering to the calves that he had made. And at Baitel he appointed the priests of the high places which he had made. And he made offerings on the altar which he had made at Baitel on the 15th yom of the 8th month, in the month which he had devised in his own heart. And he performed a festival for the children of Yeshurun, and offered on the altar, and burnt incense. I often wonder how 2 people who serve the same Alahim Almighty can be so far apart in their viewpoints. When I found out the Father's true name, I was so excited to learn the truth about his real name. And I thought once I shared what I found would bring joy and excitement to whomever I shared his name. But that was my thoughts and my visions on how I saw things with my own eyes. When I learned the Father's true name, I knew it was his name. There was no second guessing on whether or not I thought it was his name. But I wasn't trying to debunk anyone else's name. I was only interested in finding truth. But I suppose because I was looking for another name, when I found his true name, it wasn't hard for me to accept. I didn't see this view from the eyes of some people that had been living their whole life with someone they thought they knew, then finding out they had been lied to their whole life. They find one day a man coming to the door, knocking and introducing themselves as their real father. That would be catastrophic for most people. It's not like a stranger can come up to you and say, Hey, I got some exciting news. Guess what? I'm your father. So for me, there was excitement learning his true name, but for some, that could bring their whole world down on them. When I believe my mind and my heart was in the right place, I just didn't see past the everyone thinks different mindset. And like I said in some of my earlier videos, I'm not looking for a fan base of followers. So if you're following this channel or not following this channel, I love you all the same. I'm just trying to put Yahuah's word out there. And I know there's a lot of channels out there that does a much better job than I can. But the desire and the love I have for the Father Yahuah won't allow me to stop because of it. And I believe with all my heart, this is what Yahuah has called me to do. Tehillim 108. Alahim, my heart is steadfast. I sing and give praise, even my esteem. Awake, harp and lyres, I await the dawn. I praise you, O Yahuah, among people, and I sing praises to you among the Goyim. For your kindness is great above the Shamayim, and your reaches to the clouds. Exalt yourself above all the Shamayim, O Alahim, and your esteem above all the rest, in order that those you love might be delivered. Say with your right hand, and answer me. Alahim has spoken his Kadeshdish. I exalt, I portion out Shechem, and I measure out the valley of Succoth. Gilead is mine, Manasseh is mine, and Ephraim is my chief defense. Yahuah is my lawgiver. Moab is my washpot. Over Adam I cast my shoe. Over Philistia I raise a shout. Who will lead me to a strong city? Who shall lead me to Adam? Have you rejected us, O Alahim? And you do not go out with our armies, O Alahim. Give us help from distress. The help of man is not. In Alahim we do mightily, for it is he who treads down our adversaries. We're in a time period that we have people in this world and in this country who wants to radicalize the way this country is ran. They are claiming to allow people equal rights for everyone, what appears to be doing the opposite of what they're claiming. Yahuah appear to have kings that were supposed to serve the people, but it seems like the people were the ones who mostly served. This was the way Yahuah went about to divide the country into two countries. When the people of the land asked the new king, Rockman, to lighten the burdens on them from what they received from their fathers, the king took bad advice from his peers and made the burdens even harder. We hear people talking about unfairness. It appears that there was a lot of unfairness going on in that time. It appears that there were people of two life settings. If you live under the king's house, like a position of leadership or a soldier of war, you lived a better life. But the common people of the land had to provide for their families and themselves and provide wages for the king's house. It was common for the tax collectors to go around and collect taxes. A lot of times these tax collectors would take all of a person's earning and then some. Yahuah allowed the land to be split into two countries because the king refuses to lighten the burden of the people. It appears to me that Yahuah had a slave-like mentality on their own people. And it's just a matter of time before people who are mistreated rise up and fight back for their freedom. People on the left side are pushing hard for this country to fall into another Sodom, and some people will vote that way. But people out there with common sense know this country is headed down the wrong path, and it's time to stand for what is right. There were no blessings in Sodom and Gomorrah, only destructions and judgment from Yahuah, Alahim. Jacob 2. My brothers, do not hold the belief of our Adonai Yahushua Mashiach, the Adonai of esteem, with partiality. For there shall come into your assembly a man with gold rings and a splendid robe, and there shall also come a poor one dressed in rags. And you pay attention to the one wearing the splendid robe and say to him, you sit here in a good place, and say to the poor one, you stand there, or sit here by my feet. Have you not discriminated among yourselves and become judges with wicked thoughts? Listen, my beloved brothers, has Alahim not chosen the poor of this world, rich in belief and heirs of the reign which he promised to those who love him? But you have shown disrespect towards the poor man. Do not the rich oppress you and drag you into the courts? Do they not blaspheme the good name by which you are called? If you truly accomplish the king's law according to the scriptures, you should love your neighbors as yourself. You do well. But if you show partiality, you commit sin, being found guilty by the Torah as transgressors. For whoever shall guard all the Torah and yet stumble in one point, he is guilty of all. For he who said, do not commit adultery, also said, do not murder. Now if you do not commit adultery, but you do murder, you have become a transgressor of Torah. So speak and so do as those who are to be judged by a Torah of freedom. For the judgment is without compassion to the ones who have shown no compassion, and compassion boasts over judgment. My brothers, what use is it for anyone to say that he has belief, but does not have works? This belief is unable to save him. And if a brother or sister is naked and in need of daily food, and one of you say to them, go in peace, be warmed and be filled, but you do not give them the bodily needs, what use is it? So also believe, if it does not have works, is in itself dead. But someone might say, you have belief and I have works. Show me your beliefs without your works, and I show you my belief by my works. You believe that Alahim is one. You do well. The demons also believe and shudder. But do you wish to know, O foolish man, that the belief without works is dead? Was not Abraham our father declared right by works when he offered Yitzchak, his son, on the altar? Do you see that belief was working with his works, and by works the belief was perfected? And the scriptures was filled which says, Abraham believed Alahim, and it was reckoned to him for obedience, and he was called Alahim's friend. You see then that a man is declared right by works, and not by belief alone. In the same way was not Rechab the whore also declared right by works when she received the messengers and sent them out another way? For as the body without the ruach is dead, so also the belief is dead without the works. So believing without works is dead. I can't declare to have faith in something and not show evidence of my belief. If I plant a seed in the field, it cannot grow without rain or sunlight. I can believe that the plant will grow from the field, but I must plant the seed so that it may grow. So my faith plus work causes the plant to grow. Our works and belief is the action of planting the seed, and Yahuah Alahim does the growing. This world doesn't want truth, so they may begin gaslighting your name, claiming you are being a falsehood and not knowing truth. But the truth of the matter is, I've been gaslighted for years, before I even knew what gaslighting meant. I did some bold things thinking I had truth, when really only had half-truths. I remember telling a co-worker about 15 years ago that I had went into an area of town to pass out tracts, and his response was, you went into that area and wasn't scared? But thinking back, I wasn't scared, because I strongly believed my witnessing and believed I was protected from above. The truth is, I never felt any sense of danger while being there. Yahuah 41:10. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not look around, for I am your Alahim. I shall strengthen you. I shall also help you. I shall also upload you with the right hand of my obedience. Devarim 7:21. Do not be afraid of them, for Yahuah, your Alahim, the great and awesome all, is in your midst. Machal 3. Do not forget my Torah, and let your hearts watch over my commands. For length and yamim and long life and peace they add to you. Let not kindness and truth forsake you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tables of your heart. Thus finding favor and good insight in the eyes of Alahim and man. Trust in Yahuah with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Know him in all your ways, and he makes your path straight. Do not be wise of your own eyes. Fear Yahuah, and turn away from evil. It is healing to your navel, and moistening to your bones. Esteem Yahuah with your goods, and with your first fruit all your increase. Then your storehouse shall be filled with plenty, and your vats overflow with new wine. My son, do not despise the discipline of Yahuah, and do not loathe his reproof. Blessed is the man who has found wisdom, and the man who gets understanding. For the gain from it is better than gain from silver, and its increase than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all your delight are not comparable to her. Length of yamim is in her right hand, riches and esteem in her left hand. Her ways are pleasant ways, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those taking hold of her, and blessed are all who retain her. Yahuah founded the arrest by wisdom. He established the Shamayim by understanding. By knowledge the depths were broken up, and clouds dropped down dew. My son, let them not depart from your eyes. Watch over sound wisdom and discretion. Then they become life to your beings, and an adoring to your neck. Then you will walk safely in your way, and your foot will not stumble. When you lie down, you need not be afraid, and when you shall lie down, and your sleep shall be sweet. Do not be afraid of sudden dreads, nor of ruins of the lawless when it comes. For Yahuah is at your side, and he shall guard your foot from being caught. Do not withhold goods from those who deserve it, when it is in the power of your hands to do so. Do not say to your neighbors, go and come back, and tomorrow I give it, when you have it with you. Do not plan evil against your neighbor, seeing he dwells safely beside you. Do not envy a cruel man, and choose none of his ways. For the preserved ones is an abomination to Yahuah, and his secret counsel is with the straight. The curse of Yahuah is on the house of the lawless, but he blesses the house of the obedient. He certainly scoffs the scoffers, but give favor to the humble. The wise do inherit esteem, but fools are bearing away shame. We are held accountable for everything we do in this life. We're living in the fourth beast system, and this beast is more deceptive than any other beast. Our present leaders are allowing Trojan horses into this country, and if you remember the story of Troy, they were undefeatable until the enemy could find a way to penetrate the city, and the pride of Troy allowed the Trojan horse inside the city, where the enemy stayed undetected and hidden. By keeping our borders open, they are allowing men of war to come through without being detected, along with a lot of other bad things like drugs and sex trafficking. Do you think Yahuah will allow people that are not vetted into the kingdom? No, I don't think he will allow his kingdom to be penetrated. So watch out for principalities and guard Yahuah's commands. A thought came to my mind concerning some previous videos. On one or two of the videos, I mentioned the fact that I had been attacked by thoughts, but I don't believe they were my thoughts, telling me that I was God, or saying you're God. I never said I thought I was God. I never in my life went around thinking that I was God. I know my thoughts from some other thoughts trying to attack me. When I have a thought, I got to put that thought into thinking. But if a thought just pops up in my head, doesn't necessarily mean that that was my thought. To accept that thought or to rebuke that thought makes the difference. I knew starting these videos would cause me to receive attacks from other sources. Because when people think they're right about something, they tend to want to throw it in your face. I remember years ago I had a caller's name on video games, Glory JCTL. For years I didn't tell anyone the meaning of the JCTL, but one day I told a few people, just talking in general. Have you ever known anyone that contradicts anything and everything? So I told them the meaning of JCTL stands for Jesus Christ the Lord, and they responded, don't you mean Jesus Christ is Lord? And I said something like, yes, he is Lord, but he is the Lord as well, or something like that. That was a caller's name. It didn't have anything to do with those thoughts that had been attacking me. I was a gamer back then. During that time, I saw myself saved, so I glorified everything I did to Yahuah, aka Jesus. So that's where the ideal came from. I'm glorifying Yahuah, aka Jesus Christ, the Lord. At the time, I didn't know the name Lord derived from Baal, and Jesus' name derived from Jesus, meaning Zeus, so that may explain why I was under attack by these ruachs. Baal and Jesus are the gods of many deities. In fact, these thoughts that I was having didn't have anything to do with Yahushua, aka Jesus. I said I had thoughts in my head from a spirit telling me that I was God. I never said that it was telling me that I was the God, the Alahim Almighty. There's a big difference. I don't think some people understand that there are many fake deities out there. These fake deities wanted me to accept being one of their deities. These deities are far-fetched from the one and only true Yahuah Alahim. I accepted Yahuah, better known aka Jesus, a long time ago, mainly in my early 20s. Yahushua came from above and knew who he was. I came from nowhere, so why would I make claims from something I never knew? It makes no sense. All I know is I never accepted being any deity, whether fake or real. Thanks for watching, and thanks for sharing. If Yahuah is willing, I'll see you on the next video. So until then, stay blessed and be blessed, and continue to be blessed. Hallelujah. Praise Yahuah.